Good morning, everyone. This is Chair French, and I'm convening the regularly scheduled business meeting of the Kansas Corporation Commission for this Thursday, November 4th. I'm joined by my colleagues, Commissioner Keene and Commissioner Duffy. On today's agenda, we have 18 consent agenda items and 3 noticed items. We will dive right into our consent agenda first. And commissioners, let me ask if either of you have questions on any of the consent agenda items, beginning with Commissioner Keene.
None for me, thank you.
And Commissioner Duffy.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. I have no comments or questions, and I move adoption of the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, those in favor, please vote aye.
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 Aye. The consent agenda is approved. We will now move to our 3 noticed items. Our first noticed item is in docket number 21 KGSG 332 GIG, and this is a proposed order establishing procedural schedule for financial plan. And our presenter for this item is Mr. Brian Fedottin. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning, commissioners. Thank you. On July 30th, Kansas Gas filed a plan to minimize the financial effects of the 2021 winter weather event, stating it had deferred approximately $373 million in gas supply related costs. On October 15th, Kansas Gas filed a motion for procedural schedule relating to that financial plan. On October 25th, Symmetry filed its opposition to the procedural schedule. And as a result, on October 27th, the parties attended a virtual pre-hearing conference to hammer out procedural schedules and modify the protective order. As a result of that, the commission has a 2-track schedule. The first track would anticipate a settlement by November 16th. And if there was a settlement by November 16th, it outlines all of the deadlines in terms of, testimony in support of a settlement would be due November 23rd. Testimony in opposition to the settlement would be due December 3rd. An evidentiary hearing would be December 17th, and a commission order would be February 18th. In the event that there is no settlement by November 16th, we would proceed to track 2, which has a January 28th settlement deadline, February 3rd deadline for testimony in support or opposition to a settlement, a hearing scheduled for February 10th and 11th, with a commission order due May 29th. Or I'm sorry, March 29th. I'd like to have till May, but March. So with that, I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Fedottin. I'll turn to Commissioner Keene first if he has any questions for you.
No questions, thank you.
And Commissioner Duffy.
No questions or comments. Thank you.
Do we have a motion on the order?
Oh, I'm sorry. And I move adoption of the order.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the described order in this docket. Is there any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, those in favor, please vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. The order is approved. Now move to our second noticed item. This is also in docket number 21 KGSG 332 GIG. And this is a proposed order granting motion to approve procedural schedule for settlement on KGS motion for waiver. And our presenter again is Mr. Brian Fedottin.
Yes, thank you. On May 28th, Kansas Gas filed a motion seeking a limited waiver of certain tariff provisions to allow it to calculate the penalties for Winter Storm Uri, and only recover costs of gas incurred by transportation customers who failed to comply with operational flow order or period of curtailment orders. On February 30th, Kansas Gas filed a motion to approve a procedural schedule on this waiver issue. On October 8th, Symmetry, one of the gas marketers, objected to the proposed schedule claiming the proposed global settlement would require Symmetry to pay millions of dollars in penalties without providing sufficient explanation or documentation to support the penalty. And Symmetry accused Kansas Gas of proposing an extremely expedited schedule, which would force gas marketers to accept multi-million-dollar settlements without sufficient time or information to conduct a full and fair review of the facts. Symmetry also suggested that maybe we hold a pre-hearing conference to work on the protective order and scheduling issues. And so as requested by Symmetry, a pre-hearing conference was held on October 27th. And the parties reached close to a compromise, and based on where the parties were, the commission adopts the following procedural schedule. Any testimony in support would be due November 12th. Testimony in opposition would be due December 20th. There's an opportunity for an additional settlement after all of that, with testimony in support or opposition if need be, with an evidentiary hearing scheduled for January 19th and 20th, and a commission order due March 7th. With that, I'm available for questions.
Are there any questions for Mr. Fedotin on this proposed order, beginning again with Commissioner Keen
None for me, thank you.
and Commissioner Duffy?
No questions or comments, and I move adoption of the order.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the described order. Is there any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, those in favor, please vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. The order is approved. We now move to our last noticed item. This is in docket number 21 EKME 161 COM, and this is a proposed order on complaint. And our presenter for this item is again Mr. Brian Fedotin.
Yes, thank you, Commissioners. On November 18th, 2020, the complainant filed a handwritten letter alleging an electrician had tested his system and concluded it was impossible for the system to use the amount of electricity that he was billed for. The handwritten letter asserted a metering or billing error claim satisfying the requirements of KR 82-1-220B. On December 1st, Evergy filed its answer explaining that it complied with the provisions of its tariff and that there was no basis for the allegations in the complaint. On October 11th, staff filed its report and recommendation stating that it found no evidence that Evergy violated the terms of its tariff or that the bill, and it also found that the bills issued were consistent with usage. The complainant has not responded to either Evergy's answer nor staff's report and recommendation. Similarly, the complainant has presented no evidence to suggest Evergy violated its tariff or billed him incorrectly. Therefore, this order denies the complaint. With that, I'm available for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Fedotin. Any questions on this proposed order, beginning again with Commissioner Keen?
None from me, thank you.
Commissioner Duffy?
No questions or comments. I move approval of the order.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the described order in this docket. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor, please vote aye.
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 Aye. The order is approved.
Thank you.
We have now reached the end of the noticed items on today's agenda. If there is no further business to come before us this morning, I would entertain a motion to adjourn the business meeting.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn. Those in favor, please vote aye.
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 Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Take care.
Do the same.